unoccupied territory on the far left coast. You're listening to On the Move with Mack Worley III.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, patriots and preppers. I am Mack Worley III, and this is On the Move, the show that attempts to inspire you to stand up for your rights. As I've said before, this is not my show, this is your show. This is your grassroots activism movement. It's the On the Move movement. It cannot function without you, however, it is bigger than one man. I want to thank each and every one of you for your patriotism and for taking the time to get involved. Today is going to be a really good show. The date is February 9th, 2014, and like I said, we have a really good show in store for you all. On the show today, we will have special guest Johnny Rocket of the Hot Rod and Romeos and host of The Launchpad. You can go to his website. It's facebook.com/JRLaunchpad, and he'll be on the show for the first hour. He'll be coming on around 5:30. So for the second hour, we'll be joined by a special guest and YouTube personality, Chuck Burns, from youtube.com/ChuckBurns4USA. Chuck Burns for USA. So with that said, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different topics such as big government versus small government, socialized medicine, individual freedoms and personal responsibility, and whatever else comes up. Again, feel free to call in with your own topics that you'd like to discuss. We'll be taking listener calls and reading your emails. If you'd like to join the conversation today, please give us a call at 619-924-0986, or you can email the show at talk@onthemoveshow.com. Okay. Don't forget to check us out at onthemoveshow.com, here at blogtalkradio.com/onthemoveshow, facebook.com/onthemoveshow, youtube.com/onthemoveshow, and twitter.com/onthemoveshow. You can also check out our stores at On the Move Show by clicking the shop link on the homepage. We got hundreds of products for sale on there, ranging from t-shirts to freeze-dried food to books that I recommend to bumper stickers and so much more. Your purchases will help make On the Move bigger and better, and we really do appreciate your support. You know, if you guys would actually just go to onthemoveshow.com right now, click on the shop link, and we have 3 different stores in there. I'll just break it down real quick for you. We have our merchandise store. The merchandise store has basically clothing and whatnot like that about the show and other kind of designs that we've created that we think are really awesome. And, you know, for the most part, we actually created them for ourselves so we can have something to wear. My wife is a professional graphic designer. She came up with, you know, some of the designs. She designed them all, though. I came up with the rest of them that she didn't. But anyway, all these designs on there are original, and they're for patriots, by patriots. And another store that we have on there is an affiliate store through Amazon. And basically, you can buy anything that you want on there. It's all through Amazon.com. But basically, we get a percentage. It's the same price that you would normally pay through Amazon, but you know we get a little cut for referring you guys. So all that money will go toward making this show a little bit bigger and better, and trying to make everything higher quality for you guys, something that you guys will enjoy better. So feel free to go there. We also have the last store on there is the affiliate store through the Freeze Dry Guy. Please check that out. If you guys are interested in getting into emergency preparedness, look at all the stuff they have on there. They got a bunch of really good stuff. I like it. I have bought stuff from there in the past. They have Mountain House food on there. It's freeze-dried. The food lasts like up to 25 years on a shelf, which is incredible. If you're interested in emergency preparedness and you're looking at maybe stockpiling some food, that would be a way to go about doing that. And again, we get a little percentage from the money that you spend on that store as well for referring you guys. And it's at no additional cost to you, so it's win-win. All right. I'll just go ahead and mention this because I've been talking about the last few episodes. We are trying to work out a partnership with PatriotFB.com. It's a network of other podcasters, and it's basically another place for podcasters and patriots to go as an alternative to Facebook. So it's a place where we can go where we won't worried about being censored. We won't be worried about getting censored by the government. I'm still working on the technical details of how I would actually join their network. One of the big problems that we're experiencing right now is the difference between the venues that we broadcast over. Jeff Norton of the Midnight Patriot, he's the one who's set up PatriotFB.com. The Midnight Patriot is a podcast, by the way, so feel free to check him out. He's got a really good point of view, and he's been a guest on the show at some point in the past. So check out his stuff, see what you think. But anyway, as far as the technical side, I'm trying to work out on getting a mixing desk for the podcast. That way I can broadcast over Spreaker, which is what the Patriot FB network is using. They're using Spreaker, and as you all know, I'm using Blog Talk Radio. So it's a little bit different, but in order to do it, I'm going to need to get a mixing desk, and it's a little technical. I don't really understand it. I'm not really great with computers or electronics, but I'm working on it, and we're trying to figure it out and trying to make sure that we can get this thing rolling. But everything about the show will stay the same, except the quality. It's going to get better, and we're going to be able to provide the show with multiple links, so you can have different ways that you can check the show out, basically. And one thing I've noticed is that some links work good on mobile devices and other links don't. So this will give you an alternative way to listen to the show if one link isn't working on your mobile device and another one is. So that's a good thing. But anyway, I'll keep you guys updated on all the moves that we do with that at facebook.com/onthemoveshow. So also, just to give you guys a quick heads up, we got a new quick poll at the bottom of the main page of our website, onthemoveshow.com, for you all to vote on. It asks, what do you think listeners of this show should be called? The first option is Macktivists, 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 like activists or hacktivists. You guys would be called Macktivists. The second option is the Mack Pack. That was something that my wife came up with. Thought that was a pretty good one. Or do you have another name that you think would be better? If you do, select the other option and leave a comment on the results page of the poll. I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say. I've seen other shows do this kind of thing before where they name their audience and stuff like that. And I hope you all don't find it condescending, because that's not what I'm meaning to do. It's all in good fun, and I'd like your input. So let me know what you think. With that said, give us a call and let us know what's on your mind. The number to the show is 619-924-0986, or you can email the show at talk@onthemoveshow.com. Now it's time for today's first segment, and we do this at the beginning of every show. We like to call this segment This Day in History.
This Day in History.
Because people have got to know whether or not the president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Yesterday,
what country can do for you.
Mr. Gorbachev defend our honor.
Tear down this wall.
And
the people who knocked these buildings down.
A date which will live in infamy.
We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
All right. According to Wikipedia, on February 9th, 1861, 153 years ago, Jefferson Davis was elected provincial president of the Confederate States of America at a Congress held in Montgomery, Alabama. The Confederate States of America, known as the CSA, commonly referred to as the Confederate States or the Confederacy, was a government set up in 1861 by 7 slave states, i.e. states which permitted slavery of the Lower South that had declared their secession from the United States following the November 1860 election of Abraham Lincoln. Those 7 states created a confederacy in February 1861 before Lincoln took office in March. After war began in April, 4 states of the Upper South also declared their secession and were admitted to the Confederacy. The Confederacy later accepted 2 additional states as members, Missouri and Kentucky, although neither officially declared their secession nor was ever controlled by the Confederate forces. The United States government, referred to as the Union, rejected secession and the Confederacy as illegal. The American Civil War began with the 1861 Confederate attack upon Fort Sumter and a fort in the harbor of Charleston, South Carolina, which was claimed by both sides. By 1865, after very heavy fighting, largely on Confederate soil, the CSA forces were defeated and the Confederacy collapsed. Okay, so we're moving on. This next segment of the show we like to call the Weekly Defender, and it is my favorite part of the show.
And now it's time for the Weekly Defender.
You have the right to defend your life, the right to defend your family, and the right to defend your freedom.
All right, in this segment, we report about armed citizens in the news who have used their firearms to defend their family, their property, and or themselves. Our first Weekly Defender we found in the Detroit Free Press. A burglar suspected A burglary suspect is expected to recover after being shot in the hand by a homeowner he attempted to rob. Bloomfield Township Police said 2 men forced their way into the home of a 1600 block house of the Bloomfield Place near Square Lake and Telegraph Roads about 9:30 p.m. Monday and demanded money. The homeowner agreed to give them money and led one of the suspects to a bedroom. In the bedroom, the victim grabbed a gun. A struggle ensued, and the resident shot at the suspect, said Lieutenant Phil Langmeyer. The struggle continued, and the suspects ultimately left the residence. The homeowner fired another round as suspects were fleeing, Langmeyer said. Oakland County Sheriff deputies found the injured suspect at McClellan Oakland Hospital in Pontiac, where he sought treatment for his gunshot wound. He was questioned and arrested before being transferred to the Belmont Hospital for additional treatment. Police are searching for the second suspect, described as a white man in his 20s, about 6 feet tall and 150 pounds. Our next weekly defender we found from the Independent Journal Review. As if straight out of a horror movie, a mother of 2 with a husband serving in Afghanistan was awakened around 1 a.m. last Friday when a masked man holding a shotgun and machete tapped on her front door, screaming at her. All this happened at night. The woman, who wishes to remain anonymous, told Grand Rapids, Michigan News, Wood TV, that he was bent on coming into her home. She grabbed her gun from the bedroom and from the top of the stairs drew it on the suspect, who was standing on her front porch. When he saw the gun, she says, he took a few steps back but circled the house. We don't know what would have happened if the woman had not been armed, but it's safe to say that it could have gone a very different way. I honestly think that the gun saved my life. I really feel like he was coming through the door until I pointed the gun at him and he stepped back, she said. The 15-year-old suspect is in custody. Police are determining the motive behind the attack. And I watched a video that they were talking about it. Apparently it was really weird what happened. They were playing this game where, she would point the gun at him, he would step back, and then she'd put the gun down. He would actually try to get back up to the door again, and she kept pointing it. He kept backing up. So it was kind of weird. The guy had something wrong with him. Again, he was a 15-year-old, and he had a machete and a shotgun. And when the police did arrive, from what the news report said, he was ducking in and out behind the car, and then there was a foot chase that happened at some point, and the police eventually caught him and disarmed him. So they were lucky, or this guy was lucky he didn't get shot by the police. But apparently the police used some restraint in this, and that's a good thing. But anyway, I love hearing about how law-abiding citizens use firearms to protect themselves. You have a right to defend your life. You have a right to defend your family, and you have a right to defend your freedom. We at On the Move, we support those rights, and if you have a story about how you lawfully defended yourself or would like to comment on one of these stories, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call. The number to the show is 619-924-0986. Again, that is 619-924-0986, or you can email the show at talk@onthemoveshow.com. All right, at this point, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we get back, we will be entering the new segment called the Mack Attack. All right, we'll be back in about a minute 30.
Support On the Move. Help us make this podcast bigger and better. You can do this by going to our store and purchasing one of our hundreds of products. All designs are original and made for patriots like you. Just go to cafepress.com/onthemoveshow. We appreciate your support. Need design services? Logo design for $90, business cards, brochures, bumper stickers, signs, flyers, promotional products such as mugs, pins, bags, keychains, magnets, and so much more. Contact LaTasha Worley for a quote on your next project at Tasha, Tosha, at lworleyphotography.com today, or visit me on the web at lworleyphotography.com. And on Facebook at facebook.com/lworleyphotography, and on Twitter at twitter.com/Tasha Worley. Show your support for a designer who believes in the Constitution and your rights.
Hey everybody, we're back, and in this segment of the show I like to give you outrageous events in the news. If you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call at 619-924-0986. Again, that's 619-924-0986, or you can email the show at talk@onthemoveshow.com. All right, the first thing that I'd like to talk about is Obamacare and the concept of socialized medicine. And I know I've talked about this before to exhaustion, but we're going to do it again. There's other things that are going on with this program, the Affordable Care Act, that I would like to discuss. First, have you guys heard that Obamacare is allowing felons to work as navigators in the centers that take your information? I didn't believe this at first when I heard it, so I looked into it. What I have here is a clip from Kathleen Sebelius. This is the person who's in charge of this whole debacle, and she's talking about the potential of a felon becoming a navigator in the Obamacare program. So this is pretty crazy, and it's pretty important. So check this out. This is her own words. This isn't just me talking about it, and you guys come to your own conclusions on this.
Facts, but it's impossible to get fired. So I want to ask you about the navigators. The president's in Dallas, Texas today touting the Navigator program, which, as you know, are people who are hired to help people navigate the Affordable Care Act. But I would just like to ask you this question, if you would answer it. Isn't it true that there is no federal requirement for navigators to undergo a criminal background check, even though they will receive sensitive personal information from the individuals they help sign up for the Affordable Care Act?
That is true. States could add an additional background checks and other features, but it is not part of the federal requirement.
So a convicted felon could be a navigator and could acquire sensitive personal information from an individual unbeknownst to them.
That is possible. We have contracts with the organizations, and they have taken the responsibility to screen their individual navigators and make sure that they are sufficiently trained for the job. And there's a self-attestation, but it is possible.
So it's possible that a felon, a convicted felon, can get your personal information. That's possible because they're working in this call center, and we are not only having to call in there, but we're mandated to call in there. It's not just like it's a program that they're offering. We are mandated under penalty of tax or penalty, whatever they're calling it, that if we don't do it, we're technically in violation of the law. So I think this is pretty unbelievable, and the fact is this is a program that has so many different security problems in it right now. According to the National Review Online, there are at least 43 convicted criminals that are working for Obamacare as navigators in California. That's just California, including 3 individuals with records of significant financial crimes. Although some of these offenses are decades old, and although convicted criminals account for only 1% of the 729 certified enrollment counselors in the state, Californians still have good cause to be concerned about their privacy. Even a single crooked navigator could do significant harm to the public. That's because when navigators sign consumers up for health insurance under the Affordable Care Act, they have access to lots of private information, including Social Security numbers, home addresses, and financial data. Basically, everything on the wish list of identity thieves and fraudsters. Navigators are also likely to work with a population that is more vulnerable than the average. Limited statistics released by Covered California state that the new health insurance exchange showed that one navigator has repeat forgery offenses, one in 1982, then another one in 1994, with a burglary in between. Another had 2 forgery convictions in 1988, in addition to a domestic violence charge a decade later. Another committed welfare fraud in 1999 and had shoplifted at least on 2 prior occasions. Since 2000, individuals now working as navigators have committed crimes including child abuse, battery, petty theft, and evading a police officer. At least 7 navigators have multiple convictions. The information release covered only certified enrollment counselors, one of the 3 types of navigators working in California. So that just means that there's 2 other types out there that could potentially have even more convicted felons in there. You know, the worst part about this is that the website, healthcare.gov, isn't even secure. According to the Weekly Standard, buried in the source code of healthcare.gov is this sentence that could prove embarrassing. You have no reasonable expectation of privacy regarding any communication or data transiting or stored on this information system. Though not visible to users and obviously not intended as part of the terms and conditions, the language is nevertheless a part of the underlying code for the terms and conditions page on the site. According to the Washington Times, the man who appeared before Congress last week to explain the security pitfalls of healthcare.gov took to Fox News on Sunday to explain just how easy it was to penetrate the website. Hacking expert David Kennedy told Fox's Chris Wallace that gaining access to 70,000 personal records of Obamacare enrollees via healthcare.gov took about 4 minutes and required nothing more than the standard web browser, the Daily Caller reported. And 70,000 was just one of those numbers that I was able to get up to, and I stopped after that, he said. You know, I'm sure it's hundreds of thousands, if not more, and it was done within about 4 minutes of a time frame. So it's just wide open. I can literally open up your web browser and go to this and extract all this information without actually having to hack the website itself, he said. Here is a Fox News report about what he was talking about and about the vulnerabilities of the healthcare.gov. So here's the report. I believe this is Fox News, and I'll be right back after this.
This is a Fox News alert. The Obamacare website is 100% not secure. Your personal information can get hacked. Healthcare.gov has gotten worse.
And nothing's really changed since the November 19th testimony. In fact, from our November 19th testimony, it's even worse.
Remember this from last November? Well, cybersecurity experts warning Congress the Obamacare website poses a great security risk.
Do any of you today think that the site is secure?
No.
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 And then today, the experts back in front of that same House committee. So what do they have to say about healthcare.gov now? Any improvement?
Healthcare.gov is not secure today. And nothing's really changed since the November 19th testimony. In fact, from our November 19th testimony, it's even worse. I don't understand how we're still discussing whether or not the website is insecure or not. It is. And there's no question about that.
It is insecure.
It is insecure, absolutely 100%.
And cybersecurity expert David Kennedy joins us. I don't know whether to ask you that the 100% insecure or that it's even got worse. I don't know which is a more appalling statement. So let me first start with 100% insecure. No question about it?
No question. In fact, I was worried this last time when I did my testimony that it was just going to be me coming out as a security researcher. So what I did is I actually engaged multiple other security researchers that are really well known in the security industry to look at this. And they all came back and said, this is not good, it's bad, and it's 100% bad. And this is the type of things that we see for security breaches. So as of right now, 100% really bad. All
right, you say it's gotten even worse. How could it get worse in November?
Well, what happened is, we had the October 1st deadline, which they rolled it out, and the website itself was really bad, unstable, everything else. And so what they did is they jammed a whole bunch of servers in there. They had a whole bunch of guys, behind the keyboards programming really fast to keep the site up and stable. So what they did is they introduced new code, new vulnerabilities, new exposures, and other security researchers also started looking at this website and found a whole slew of additional issues that are with the website. So, it's just bad all around. It continues to get worse.
All right, well, what's sort of interesting today is that Waylon Crush, who was there, he was the one who at least sort of seemed like the most, that he thought there'd been improvement. But then the interesting thing, if you go to his Twitter account, which is the most extraordinary thing, he said, world's greatest hacker calls healthcare.gov security shameful. That's what he tweets.
I know, it was interesting. Waylon had an interesting swag about him, I guess. But he was very much on the side of, we don't know enough information about it. And for me personally, I've done this for 14 years. I did it for the NSA, I did it for the United States Marine Corps. I've done it in the private sector. When you see something like this and you see the systemic issues, there's a much larger problem on the inside. And it's something that we really need to look at and address. It's bad.
All right, so personal information includes financial?
Well, there's portions of that. So they're adding the credit card functionality soon. But right now it's personal information, your first name, last name, email address, social security number, as well as the integration into the IRS and DHS, which contains all of your tax information, all of your financial information, as well as whatever DHS has on you. So basically your whole online profile can be accessed through this, what they call the data hub.
All right, and your health information.
Yeah, well, health information isn't actually on the website, but it integrates into the other state exchanges. So like the California State Exchange or the New York State Exchange. So they have integration pieces into those. So this is kind of the central point, the focal point. You know, as an attacker, I would go after this, compromise this, hack this, and from there have access into all the different agencies, all the different government entities at a state level and both federal. All
right, you say it's 100%, so it doesn't seem like it get much worse, but let me sort of ask you a sort of hybrid of it. How easy is it to hack into it?
Well, I mean, these types of attacks that we're seeing, the things that the vulnerabilities that we identified and exposed are very rudimentary basic hacks. It's not like it would take somebody extremely sophisticated to break into this site.
So this is really bad.
It's really bad. And the problem is they don't have to disclose it. There's no federal law saying that you have to disclose it of any personal information being leaked, except for the House passed that bill last Friday to disclose it in a 48-hour period, but it's probably not going to make it to the Senate.
In your wildest dreams, would you ever sign up on healthcare.gov?
Absolutely not. And I'd be extremely terrified if I had family members that were doing it as well.
All right. David, thank you very much.
Thanks, Brad.
So he wouldn't sign up for Obamacare, and it's because of all these vulnerabilities in the website. You know, to me, I wouldn't do it either. I would recommend that you don't. Not only just because it's a mess, you know, the website is a totally insecure, basically database with your information, and we're mandated to sign up. But another reason is just because I think it's immoral and unethical that they would make you sign up for this anyway. My very first point in this is that the government should have no place in the healthcare system. It's 1/6 of our economy. They're trying to basically turn it into a government entity. They want it all to be run through the government. These private insurance companies they're gonna go by the wayside. They're trying to collapse the private insurance companies right now. People say that these private insurance companies are evil, they're big conglomerate corporations. Hey, you know what? It's the free market, all right? The problem is that the free market isn't being allowed to work. We keep giving in the way. We keep regulating. We keep limiting. Right now, you can't even go across state lines to buy insurance. How is that competitive? We have companies that literally have monopolies in states because there's no other companies there. All right? So I hope you all don't sign up for this mess. I hope you guys stay out of it, keep your information safe, and not only because it's insecure, but because it's unethical. And liberals and progressives, they're using this as a way to redistribute wealth. They want to take from the people who aren't using their health insurance, who can afford to pay for their health insurance, and they're basically trying to steal from one group of people and give to another group of people. All right? What they don't seem to understand is that public assistance, it only perpetuates poverty, all right? It kills the will to better one's circumstance and to work hard. Why bother putting in extra effort if it's not going to pay off? Why bother creating new technology or creating a business if it doesn't allow you to better your circumstances? Government handouts de-incentivizes work. Why bother going to work when you can stay at home and get paid to do nothing? I'd like to introduce you all to Milton Friedman. If you haven't heard of Milton Friedman before, I highly recommend checking him out on YouTube. He's had some very interesting ideas that we can relate to today. The videos that he did were, I believe, back in the 60s or 70s, and his videos, he explains very easily understandable ways the holes in liberal logic, okay? I have a clip here from Milton Friedman. He's talking to a young college guy, and I think they're in a school of some sort, and they're talking basically about the concept of redistribution of wealth. Here's what Milton Friedman had to say.
Sure. But most of what I've heard you talking about has been about distribution of income rather than about the distribution of wealth. Sure. Now, you wouldn't argue, at least I hope you wouldn't, that the person in, let's say India is genetically inferior, say, to the person in America. It's rather through the purely arbitrary circumstance of birth that he's in a country with a less developed economy or in a family that doesn't have as large a share of the capital. And that's not something that he's to blame for.
Oh, I'm not blaming anybody.
Even if the free market system equitably works and everyone progresses an equal amount, that person who started out with a lesser share of the capital is still going to end up with a lesser share of the capital.
That's right.
And there's nothing in the free market system that's going to enable him to make up for what was a purely arbitrary deficit in the first place. And given that the kind of people who become successful capitalists do not become that way by giving away their wealth voluntarily, isn't it necessary to forcibly redistribute wealth before you can begin to operate under a capitalist system?
No, it is not. The only way in which you can redistribute effectively the wealth is by destroying the incentives to have wealth. And the question is, what is the way, what is the system which will offer those people who are so unlucky as to be born without good positions, what is the system which will offer them the greatest opportunity?
Well, one possible way of redistributing the wealth without affecting the incentives to earn as much income as possible is simply to have a 100% inheritance tax.
But
that won't affect the incentives. It's only after the person is dead anyway.
I beg your pardon. You're too, I'm afraid, I don't know the family you come from. I don't, but as you grow up, you will discover that this is really a family society and not an individual society. We tend to talk about an individualist society, but it really isn't. It's a family society. And the greatest incentives of all, the incentives that have really driven people on, have largely been the incentives of family creation, of family, of pursuing, of establishing their families on a decent system. What is the effect of 100% inheritance tax? The percent of an 100% inheritance tax is to encourage people to dissipate their wealth in high living.
What's the harm in that?
The harm in that is that where do you get the factories? Where do you get the machines? Where do you get the capital investment? Where do you get the incentive to improve technology? If what you're doing is to establish a society in which the incentive is for people who, if they by accident accumulate some wealth, to waste it in frivolous entertainment. You know, the thing is that the thing that is amazing, that people don't really recognize, is the extent to which the market system has, in fact, encouraged people and enabled people to work hard and sacrifice in what I must confess I often regard as an irrational way for the benefit of their children. One of the most curious things to me in observation is that almost all people value the utility which their children will get from consumption higher than they value their own. Here are parents who have every reason to expect that their children will have a higher income than they ever had. And they scrimp and save in order to be able to leave something for their children. I think you are sort of like a bull in a china shop if you talk about the 100% inheritance tax having no incentive effects. It would destroy a continuing society. It would destroy a society.
So that was Milton Friedman. He's talking about the redistribution of wealth. And, you know, I often look to what he has to say on a lot of different topics that we've seen in the news lately. I like to refer to him because I think that he has a really eloquent way of making his points. I think that he can really dumb it down, for me anyway, to where I can actually understand it. And, you know, some things I don't necessarily agree with that he has, but as far as an opinion, but, you know, he does make some really good points, and he does show one thing that the liberals, progressives keep doing, okay, is they want to impose their will. They want the government to impose their will on someone else. You know, I'll never understand why people feel that the government has the right to step in and force someone to do something that they don't want to do. People seem to be okay with this concept until it happens to them. When you allow the government to violate someone's rights, you're only opening the door for them to do the same to you. Let me remind you, the government works for us. All right? They're not our keepers, and they're not supposed to be meddling in our lives. A government which governs through coercion is an illegitimate government. Keep in mind that these people are not our masters, okay? They are not our public officials. They are our public servants, and they work for us, and they are not in charge of us. They should not be meddling in our affairs. One thing I have noticed is that people want to be left alone. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or you're the right. People just want to be left alone to live their lives. But the thing that's really easy to do, and a lot of people make this mistake, and it's really seductive to be able to do this, to be like, oh man, somebody should make a law making that illegal. But as long as nobody's hurting anyone and there's, voluntary interactions between people and no one's being forced to do something, it's all a mutually beneficial or voluntary relationship, why would you make a law prohibiting that? Why would you allow the government to get their hooks in that? Again, this person in this clip that we were listening to, they raised the question of a 100% inheritance tax, and they make the typical liberal mistake. He doesn't even begin to think about how imposing such a broad, society-changing law will affect the country and the people's will to work. How many people work their entire lives in the hopes that they're doing everything that they're doing will benefit their children and give them a better life? A lot of people are out there doing that very thing. You can hear the ignorance in this person's voice when he says, what's the harm in that? When Friedman says this law would cause people to spend their money frivolously and instead of saving. Liberals don't even want to consider the harm that their ideas will have. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to have Johnny Rocket on the show, and we're going to be talking about this and any other topic that he or I come up with here. So we'll be back in about a minute 30.
Support On the Move. Help us make this podcast bigger and better. You can do this by going to our store and purchasing one of our hundreds of products. All designs are original and made for patriots like you. Just go to cafepress.com/onthemoveshow. We appreciate your support. Need design services? Logo design for $90, business cards, brochures, bumper stickers, signs, flyers, promotional products such as mugs, pins, bags, keychains, magnets, and so much more. Contact LaTasha Worley for a quote on your next project at Tasha, Tosha, at lworleyphotography.com today, or visit me on the web at lworleyphotography.com, and on Facebook at facebook.com/lworleyphotography, and on Twitter at twitter.com/Tasha Worley. Show your support for a designer who believes in the Constitution and your rights.
All right, we're back. When we last left the show, we were talking about socialized medicine, Obamacare, the debacle that's going on with that. And now we have a special guest that we're bringing on the show. His name is Johnny Rocket of the Hot Rod and Romeos, and he's the host of the Launchpad podcast. And you can check that out at facebook.com/JR Launchpad. Okay, so Johnny, are you there?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
I'm great. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, man. Mack, I just want to say thanks a lot for serving. I saw that you were Air Force guy before. I was Army, so we probably have a lot in common.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. And thank you, too. I appreciate your service. I got some questions for you here, if you don't mind. I'm just curious. Man, I'm sure that a lot of my listeners haven't heard of your show, and I want them to go check your stuff out. But one thing I'm curious about, what actually got you into podcasting? And, tell us a little bit about yourself as far as what your podcast is about.
Well, I guess it started when I was just getting out of the military. I just noticed the whole system had become so corrupt. And while I was in the military, for one, just a lot of wasteful spending. I know I saw just enormous amounts of just misuse of government funds while I was in the military. And I guess that's kind of what inspired me. Another guy who inspired me is like Ron Paul, to speak your mind, to do the right thing, and to save money, to be fiscally conservative. And I'm all about liberty. That's what we that's what we did to defend this nation that we have. And so to get into the whole podcast is, I think I'm here in Seattle. I'm here downtown Seattle, Washington, and I think that it's so left over here. It's ridiculous. They just want more and more bigger government, and it's mind-blowing. I'm like, really? I mean, you guys are the same people who were preaching 20 or 30 years ago, saying we don't want the government, and now you're the same people saying we want more government. We need to take care of everyone. Yeah. And I just don't get it, man. I don't understand why people want more government. It's very inefficient. we know this. Private organizations, companies are more productive, because we have competition, and competition creates better products.
Absolutely.
And so it's mind blowing, man. But I figured I'd be the voice, here in Seattle. I want to be, and I'm also in the rock and roll music business. And I figured, hey, man, I got a pretty cool following. The band I'm in, we're all pretty much like-minded guys in the band.
Mm-hmm.
So we all believe in liberty and doing the right thing, and owning guns, as long as you don't hurt anyone, if you're not impeding on anyone's rights, personal property, all that other crap, you should be good to go. So that's what we believe.
Would you describe yourself as a conservative then, or a libertarian, or?
I am a libertarian. See, here's the thing. I'm a libertarian, and a lot of people think that if you're a libertarian, you must be all about marijuana. And I'm not. I personally cannot stand it, personally. But that doesn't give me the right to force my beliefs on other people. I think if we are in a society that is free, we make our own decisions. Again, I don't have a problem with people who do it. I don't care for it personally, but I consider myself personally conservative. But that's just my morality, not what I should. I'm not begging the government to enforce that morality.
Absolutely. And one thing about, I think, libertarianism that people do get confused is that it's all about drugs. Now, granted, that's a part of it as far as personal responsibility, individual freedom, things like that, where and also state sovereignty, where the states have the right to make up their own laws, and the federal government shouldn't be telling states what they can and can't do. That's a big part of it, but it's more about volunteerism. It's about people entering into a government that they're voluntarily letting the government do certain things, but not take over total control and basically become totalitarian, where they start regulating every part of your life, and it's no longer the government telling you what you can't do, but the government telling you what you can do.
No, and that's a beautiful point. Great point. I'm 100% behind you on that. One of the things I think the government that people should understand, and I think it's very important that people understand this, you cannot regulate morality or equality. There's never going to be such a thing as an equal across-the-board bill or legislation that will be equal across the board. You're going to piss people off, and you should. I think people need to. But when people put their own... I think we're in a society that's based on emotional response and not logical thinking. People just like to throw out stuff, and so everything's knee-jerk reaction, and they go off of that and say... And the media thrives off that. They'll throw out something. Hey, somebody got shot, so we're going to ban guns. That's not the answer. That's not the answer.
Absolutely.
And I think people are not taking a logical approach to the problems that we have. They're taking more of an emotional response.
I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem. And that's how the media is. This is why we have such a statist society. Who wants more government? Because it's all knee-jerk reaction. It's not thought out. It's not logical. So everybody wants and I don't get it. It blows my mind, because it's like, what has the government really done? Nothing really. They don't do anything. If you want shit to sorry my language, but if you don't want things to work, you get the government to do it. And so the free economy, the free market. That's who needs to be innovative. That's competition creates jobs. It creates, hey, I got a product A. Last night I did a rock and roll show here in Seattle, and that's why I'm a little hoarse right now.
That's all right.
And I asked this guy, and I said, hey, man, do you like your iPhone? He goes, yeah, I love this phone, man. I'm like, why do you like that phone? He's like, because it's great. It's fun. I love it. It's easy to use. I'm like, yeah, but then you have another company that's trying to make something better, right? And he's like, well, yeah. Well, yeah, but that's how we get growth, and that's how we have growth in our society, is through competition and innovation. And the government doesn't create that. It creates complacency. It creates
Absolutely.
stagnatism. And we end up in this system where nobody wants to do anything.
Exactly. The government, they don't know how to create. That's one concept that I think liberals don't quite understand. That the government only knows how to steal and destroy things. They know how to manage things ineffectively. And one thing you mentioned that I'd like to comment on was the fact that people want to regulate morality and allow the government to regulate morality. My biggest concern with that is what group, what organization has killed more people in the past 100 years than government? There is no group. The government is responsible, and not necessarily our government, but governments around the world are responsible for killing hundreds of millions of people in the last 100 years. So why would we put them in a position to regulate morality when they're the most immoral group that you could ever put in charge of anything? Not to mention that you were talking about the competition between free markets. A lot of people think that capitalism it's basically like a big business friendly entity. Capitalism is actually against big business. Capitalism is for the consumer. It actually makes competition between businesses, and that's something that's beneficial to the consumer.
Right, and I'm 100% behind you, and you have to have a good product, and if you don't have a good product, it's not going to sell. And one thing I wanted to touch on your show is property rights. See, if you own your own business, you bought your business, you pay your taxes on your business, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want to do in your business. Now, I use this weird example or analogy, but let's say you have a business, and heaven forbid, this person who owns this business we don't serve Asians here, and everyone's going to go, oh, that's horrible. But the owner of that property has the right to do that. Now, I'm going to give you, follow with me here, Mac. If that business, do you think anyone's going to go into that business if they don't serve Asians? Because it's going to cause an uproar.
It's definitely going to get people upset if they know about it.
Right, it's going to get people upset. Now, are people going to go to that business?
Most likely not.
Probably.
I know I wouldn't.
Right, and so it's going to go out of business on its own because it's failed on capitalism. It's failed. Why would you do that? So you can let the community itself siphon out the immoral behavior. People are not going to go to that place, therefore will not get money. Therefore, we don't need a government bureaucracy to legislate that. I mean, people are not going to stand up for that. I don't have a problem with Asians, for the record.
With that same logic, though, I've seen things in the news where there was a baker that didn't want to participate in a gay marriage, and they didn't want to bake that cake for the gay couple, and they took them to the Supreme Court. They've won. They've said that it's actually it's actually illegal for them to discriminate against a gay couple. In my opinion, I don't think that the government should have any business telling me what I'm going to do as far as with my own business. And you're right. If there is not a market for that company, if they've done something that made their company unmarketable, that company will go out of business on its own. If people are boycotting it or something for that reason, absolutely, that's fine. That's the free market. That's people volunteering.
But it's also morality. I mean, people have their own moralities. Your morality is different than mine. And we don't all fall step. You don't step with each other with morality. I'm hoping that we have very similar values. We have, do not kill people for no reason. I mean, most logical people have that opinion. But I mean, regarding when we're going to the whole thing with the bakery with the cake. Now, hey, I don't care if you're gay. I don't care, man. That's anyone who's gay, they're cool. If they're cool with me, I'm cool with them. I don't judge them. It's not my right to judge them. But it's the business's right to determine whether or not they want. If they don't want to do it, guess what? They're going to lose business.
Yeah, well, this is a battle between individual discrimination kind of deal, but also religious rights, and these people are claiming this for religious purposes. That they believe that it's against their religion, and that's not them saying that. That's in the Bible. I'm not a very religious person myself, but I do know that in the Bible it specifically says that it's a sin. So if they think that participating in this ceremony is a sin, by association, and they don't want to participate, that's their right as far as religious beliefs to do that.
I agree, but they have the right to not serve them.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to hurt their business? Depends on where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. If their neighborhood,
is it morally right? I mean, would I not serve that cup? Would I not? If I was a baker in a business, would I not do that? I'd make them a cake. Me personally.
Yeah.
That's me though.
Yeah.
But I have the right to do what I want in my own business, and I think
that's
the most important. The most important thing.
I totally agree.
But we're losing our rights, and it's slowly slipping away because of this whole, the race card. Oh, you're racist, or you don't like gays, or homophobe. No, I don't care if you're gay. That's not an issue. It's a non-issue. And what's going on with the left, and the biggest problem I have with the left, is they're making things that are not an issue an issue. Nobody really cares if someone's gay. I don't really think they do. I haven't. Not here in America, anyways. We've tamed down things so much, where it's like we're thinking people. I'm hoping we are. I think it's a non-issue, man. I really do, and I think they're putting the social things ahead of the really important things. It's like look over here, look at this, and then really the stuff that we need to be worried about is being masked by.
Absolutely.
We're in debt. That's the things that matter. Who cares? If under God, under religion, that's a non-issue. The real issue is we're gonna go bankrupt, and it's happening. And we keep spending, and and it's getting out of control, man. It's really out of control.
Absolutely. What we got? 17 trillion in debt, and I think last time I looked, it was 93 trillion in unfunded liabilities. That's the stuff that is coming up that we have no answer to. We don't have the money. So 93 trillion in unfunded liabilities. That's unbelievable. What are we going to do?
I mean, to tell you the truth, I'm a libertarian. I've been hanging out here in Washington with a lot of like-minded people, and they're very smart, intellectual libertarians who have common sense. They know what's going on. They see through the media. They see through all the things that are going on. I'm not saying all media is bad. I kind of, but they see through the media, and I've been hanging out with them, and I think for any party or any kind of liberty movement to go through is we need to start on a small scale. We need to start at, representative, mayors, governors, stuff along those lines, not straight up in the presidential material, but I think, I'm not a Tea Party guy, but I think a lot of the guys like Rand Paul and Ted Cruz, and those guys are on the right track to bring a little bit, to kind of disrupt the establishment Republican Party. So I think we need to cut spending. We need to get somebody in there who is willing and have the gonads to actually stop spending that unnecessary waste. People in the government should be rewarded for saving and not spending. How many times have we gone to the military range and they're just like, hey, spend all ammo now. Because we need to get our fiscal budget for next year, and if we don't spend it, they're going to say, whoa, you guys don't need X amount of dollars.
Yep. Yeah, I was talking about that last show, how, I'm sure you've seen the same thing where they're at the end of the year and they're giving out their wish list of things that you need, and then after you get everything you need, they're like, okay, what do you want? And then after you get everything you want, then they start buying big screen plasma TV screens, and putting it up in the attic.
To put up in the hospital. You have like one on every. They're more common than outlets. Every screen on every wall. And nobody reads them. Nobody cares. It's just a waste of money. Put a poster up.
Yeah, and plus we're paying $10,000 for those TVs. If we ran for those TVs, and it's because there's a contract with some corporation or something that it's they've worked out a deal, so we're paying 3 times what this freaking TV's worth.
No, totally, 100%. And you know, like how that works with for the listeners. There's a thing, we have a government GSA, government supply agency.
Mm-hmm.
They have that big catalog.
Yeah.
And we have to order from that catalog so say, hey, we need paper, and we have to go to this government catalog to order the paper. But if they, let's say we need a Phillips screwdriver head that's this big and blah blah blah. Well, if they don't have it in the catalog, then we can do a local purchase. But if they don't have it in the catalog, you can do a local purchase. If you have it in the catalog, it's ridiculous. It's like $10 for a pack of pens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
even if you find a better deal,
what's that?
Even if you find a better deal somewhere local or something, you can't say, hey, I want this, even though it's a better deal, than what's in the magazine.
Right.
You still have to buy what's in the magazine.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You're in the military, you get it. The GSA.
Yeah, we had
really?
the same thing.
What's that?
I said we had to do the same exact thing when we were doing it, and at the end of the year when we ran out of things to buy, they were literally stocking our attic full of big screen TVs. After they filled up the wall, they replaced what a piece of paper was doing with a big screen TV and a PowerPoint slideshow.
Right, and it's especially in the hospitals. Now you guys, I don't want to say anything bad about the Air Force, but you guys had a little better living conditions than we did. We were like, hey, there's a grassy area. Sleep on that. You're good.
Yeah.
You guys. Is it true though, Mac? Seriously, is it true that you guys had people actually took your trays from you? I heard
from
about
where?
this, and I wanted to ask an Air Force guy.
Okay, yeah. Are you talking about
in the chow hall, and you're done with your meal, and they're like, hey, and you had somebody pick up your stuff?
Oh no, I never saw anything like that.
Okay, that's a lot then.
But yeah, I have heard about this thing that they're doing now, and I don't know if it's true or not, but they have a timeout card now that they're holding up. If they get too stressed in basic training or something, they can hold up this little red timeout card, and they can take a few minutes or something to de-stress. I swear that had to be thought of by a progressive. Had to have been.
No, it's a stress card. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
guess that was implemented. I heard that was being implemented 6 years ago.
Yeah, well, that happened right after I got it.
Yeah, if you're in the military, dude, there's no there should you're supposed to react under fire. You're supposed to react under stress. You got to make decisions quick. If you can't handle it, maybe you shouldn't be in the military. Point blank.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't hold up a stress card in the middle of a firefight. The whole point of basic training and things like that are to get you in these stressful environments and get you used to it and develop you. They break you down and build you up anew. That's the whole point of these things. And they're giving you a stress card so that you can get out of it, basically.
No, exactly. And that's the whole point of the military. They're there to break you down, build you up. And I think, I don't think I was broken down that much, but I was conditioned. Definitely I was conditioned.
Yeah.
I still say Roger, if you're like, what?
Yeah.
Or I still call it a latrine, but I think a lot of people don't get that it's a lifestyle, not necessarily a job.
Absolutely.
I have people you live the military. You don't have a 9 to 5. You're always on duty.
Yeah, I've had people that are trying to tell me to stop calling them sir, and it's impossible. Especially if you're older than me or something. I'm going to call you sir. I can't help it. Not only is that kind of how I was raised, but at the same time, the military. I've been conditioned. I've been trained to say sir and ma'am. I will be trying to do that my whole life.
Yeah, and I do that too. And sir, ma'am. Sometimes the chicks don't like to hear ma'am. They get mad. So I just change it to miss. I'm not old, you're like, no, it's just, sorry, it's not that.
Yeah.
You're all right, you're not old, but they get offended. You say, hey, ma'am, and you're like, I'm 25. Oh, sorry, miss. They get kind of upset with that. So I try to keep it under wraps. But, no, exactly. one thing I think that, is good for people is if they do have military, because then they can really see government in action. You don't see too many military people being progressives or pro-government. You never see it. Why? Why don't you? Because they see what goes on.
Yeah,
right. They know
that.
I mean, you like myself, probably very, very proud that you served. I was a warrant officer in the Army. I flew helicopters. I believe it or not, right? But I loved it. It was the good camaraderie, the spirit de corps. However, I think that the wastefulness and a lot of these scandals that we're hearing, regarding rape, I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true at all. What do you feel, Mack?
I mean, the one thing about being accused of rape in the military, or really anything, especially as an officer, it's really difficult to come back from that. Honestly, I don't know what the deal is if they did it or not. I don't know what to think. But I do know that if you're even accused of it in the military, it's basically you're never going to actually command again. That they'll never put you in that position again. So
I'm just asking you from your perspective. I've been in generally all male units, so I don't know. But I haven't heard anything like that, so I've never seen it.
I personally have never heard anybody that got raped, that I knew specifically. But I mean, I've heard of it before, especially in deployed locations. Things happen, and I mean, apparently there is a high percentage in deployed locations that it happens. I don't know though. I don't know it personally, but what I do know is there's some scandal going on right now that the people, the officers in charge of the launch control that send up the nuclear missiles. This is my department. This is what I did when I was out when I was in the military. I protected nuclear weapons. I was security forces, so we would go out to these facilities and we'd guard these nukes. And the launch control officers would come and they would go down into their little bubble that they got down hundreds of feet downstairs, and they would be in charge of turning the keys if they ever needed to send a nuke up. There's a scandal that's going on right now where these officers have been basically caught cheating on these tests, these nuke surety, use of force tests that they have to do annually. And there's a big scandal. I think it's like dozens of these guys have been caught cheating on this test. And if they weren't caught cheating, they at least knew it was going on, and they tracked down all the emails and stuff. That doesn't surprise me, honestly. The things I've seen in the military, that honestly does not surprise me. That kind of stuff is going on. A lot of those people think that those tests are just stupid anyway. And really, honestly, I mean, they don't really do much to help out in our security or our nuke surety of these nuclear weapons. It's just like a CYA thing that the government does to make sure that you've been certified on it. Everybody's seen all the answers before, and they've seen this test and they've studied it a million times. After you're a few years into your enlistment or your being an officer, I don't know what they call those, your commission, then it does seem kind of silly to keep taking the same test and it keep getting shoved down your throat. So I can see them being in that position and cheating, and some people, even though they have seen it cheating and they're not cheating themselves, I can see how those people maybe wouldn't even look at it twice or think anything of it, because they think it's just another silly test, because we, as you know, Johnny, we've taken hundreds and hundreds of tests.
Oh yeah. But they train you how to take the test, not necessarily to learn the subject. It's all rote memorization, not understanding and comprehension. I think that's a major thing we need to focus in on the military. I mean, there's a lot of things I would do differently if I went back in time, But I mean, I think but a lot of the good things about the military. I mean, obviously you hold it near and dear. So what's this thing about you and the gun thing? I saw this video. It was like On the Move, and it was before episode 1. It was kind of maybe a couple of years ago. What's that deal with you bringing a rifle?
About my conceal or my open carry incident. I can't really talk about that much right now. I'm still going through court on that, and I've kind of been avoiding talking about it. But just so you know, I'm still in the court process of that. Feel free to check out my video, guys. It's on youtube.com/ On the Move show, and it has the part 1 and part 2 of my interview with Open Carry Vancouver. It lays out the situation of what happened. It'll tell you guys everything about what actually happened when I was open carrying, but I'm trying to avoid talking about it right now until the court case is over. And
okay, well, hey, man, that's totally understandable. I didn't mean to bring up a tough subject. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I haven't really talked much about it ever since it happened, just because my lawyer is telling me I should kind of keep it under wraps until everything's out.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable.
Yeah. Well, hey,
man, I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
I was just saying.
I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I'll be right back. Would you mind holding for a few seconds?
Yeah, sure, man.
All right, I'll be right back. Thanks for holding.
Support On the Move. Help us make this podcast bigger and better. You can do this by going to our store and purchasing one of our hundreds of products. All designs are original and made for patriots like you. Just go to cafepress.com/onthemoveshow. We appreciate your support. Need design services? Logo design for $90, business cards, brochures, bumper stickers, signs, flyers, promotional products such as mugs, pins, bags, keychains, magnets, and so much more. Contact LaTasha Worley for a quote on your next project at Tasha, Tosha, at lworleyphotography.com today, or visit me on the web at lworleyphotography.com, and on Facebook at facebook.com/lworleyphotography, and on Twitter at twitter.com/Tasha Worley. Show your support for a designer who believes in the Constitution and your rights.
And we're back. When we last left the show, we had our special guest, Johnny Rocket of the Hot Rod and Romeos and host of Launchpad. And we were talking about a bunch of different topics ranging from socialized medicine to progressive agenda kind of deal to the military, a whole bunch of different stuff. Johnny, are you there?
Yeah. Mack, I'm here.
All right. Okay, and if you guys would like to join the conversation, the number to the show is 619-924-0986. Again, that's 619-924-0986, or you can email the show at talk@onthemoveshow.com. All right, Johnny, I'd like to give you a chance here to talk about your show and talk about what you guys are doing, as well as with your rock and roll band. I think that's really awesome. I've checked out your guys' pictures. You guys look really cool, way cooler than I am. And I just want to give you a chance to plug your stuff. So what do you guys got going on?
Well, with the Launchpad, we're actually we should have our first episode out probably in the next day or two. We've been working on this podcast for about 3 weeks now. Seriously, we have a studio, professional recording studio, friends with a lot of recording artists here in town. So they've been, gave us the right, the usage to their, studio for us to record the show. A bunch of like-minded individuals. Again, we're basically going on the theme of liberty, to do your own thing, to not mess with other people, to be personal responsibility. The show, revolves around drinking and having a good time and talking about music and discussing ideas and how we can make things better. And I think that's what Seattle needs, and I don't think we have something like that. So, again, I think it's really important that, and, again, I'm a very, generally I'm trying to watch my language on your show, sir.
Yeah.
But I'm a very crass and brash person, so it may cause some a little controversy, but that's okay because that's what it's about, and that's what gets the message out, and I'm cool with it.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So as far as for the future of your podcast and everything, where do you guys want to take it? Are you guys looking to get syndicated beyond a radio, or are you looking to stay independent on the internet?
Well, right now we're the studio that we are recording in. We have plans within the next 2 to 3 months to do an actual video of the show as we are discussing subjects. So it would be kind of like, kind of like the Blaze TV, where
awesome.
You see you see things going on. It's live, or we're recording it live. We'll be edited due to the fact that we swear sometimes too much. But we're going to do the whole thing where it's like we have a roundtable conversation. We try to keep things light and entertaining. So it's more for entertainment, but I think the best way to get the message across is to have it lighthearted, to be entertained, to be funny. An even ground that everyone can relate to.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the biggest thing,
I have to agree with you, and I think that entertainment is a great way to get people involved and get people to look at it. I mean, just look at Jon Stewart. He's been doing the Daily Show, and a lot of people actually will look at him as a legitimate news source because, I mean, he's providing news, but he's got social commentary on it that's hilarious. Even I think it's funny. Some of his agendas I don't agree with, but I mean, it keeps you entertained, it keeps you engaged. So I appreciate what you guys are doing over there. I think that's really awesome. I'm excited to hear what you guys have.
Yeah, and I want to be the libertarian voice, for entertainment. That's my thing. I guess my ultimate goal would be to be the Adam Carolla of Seattle, where I say stuff that isn't politically correct, but I have the right to say that, and that's cool. And I think that's the most important thing, is to come across and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm about. If you don't like it, take a hike,
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have said that, as eloquently as I had on this show if it was on my show. So, but that's exactly what we want to do, and I think there's a lot of people out there who are really afraid to speak their mind. And I really, truly believe that, because we're, if you don't agree with everybody, if you don't agree with the status quo, people are afraid to speak their mind, because then they'll be socially damaged forever. I know a lot of people who couldn't get jobs because of their political beliefs here in Seattle.
Yeah.
Or their religious
I know people that have been discriminated for that kind of stuff too. But hey, I really appreciate you coming on the show, Johnny. Do you have any other websites or any other information that you'd want to give out to my listeners so they can check your stuff out before we let you go?
Yeah. I might as well just plug my band in while I'm at it.
Right ahead.
Our band is the Hot Rod and Romeos. You can find us at thehotroddandromeos.com or on Facebook, Hot Rod and Romeos, HOTRODDIN. ROMEOS. So yeah, please, visit our site, check out our music videos. We got some cool music videos here in the Northwest. We're all about rock and roll, man. So hey, thank you, Mack, for having me on the show. It's an honor. Had a great time talking with you, man. And keep up the good work, man. I love what you're doing.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on the show, Johnny. And anytime you guys want me on your show, let me know. And you're welcome on mine anytime. If you have anything that you want to promote, let me know.
Absolutely.
And
thank you so much, man. It means a lot.
All right. Well, thanks. We're going to go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll be on with Chuck Burns of YouTube.com, Chuck Burns for USA. All right.
Support On the Move. Help us make this podcast bigger and better. You can do this by going to our store and purchasing one of our hundreds of products. All designs are original and made for patriots like you. Just go to cafepress.com/onthemoveshow. We appreciate your support. Need design services? Logo design for $90, business cards, brochures, bumper stickers, signs, flyers, promotional products such as mugs, pins, bags, keychains, magnets, and so much more. Contact LaTasha Worley for a quote on your next project at Tasha, TOSHA, at lworleyphotography.com today, or visit me on the web at lworleyphotography.com, and on Facebook at facebook.com/lworleyphotography, and on Twitter at twitter.com/Tasha Worley. Show your support for a designer who believes in the Constitution and your rights.
All right, we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. If you want to join the conversation today, the number is 619-924-0986. Again, that is 619-924-0986. Or you can email the show at talk@onthemoveshow.com. Join the conversation. Let us know what you think. All right. When we last left the show, I had Johnny Rocket of the Hot Rod and Romeos on the show. I have another guest on the show now. His name is Chuck Burns. He operates the YouTube channel, youtube.com, Chuck Burns, the number 4 USA. Are you there, Chuck?
I most certainly am. And
How
you
you
want to
doing,
add on there, I'm doing good, Mac. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
I'm also going to say maybe add on there, I also operate on taxesareconsent.org, which is a website on how your taxes are consent to government.
Great. Okay, that's
So
awesome.
blog I have, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, everybody go check out his stuff. I actually checked out your YouTube channel a little bit ago. And I got so into it. I was checking video after video. I really like your take on a lot of the stuff in regards to smaller government. And I love the fact that you're a veteran. By the way, I really appreciate your service. Thank you so much for that.
I do try to leave that out, though, because I think a lot of times, especially when you're trying to get left-leaning people to come and listen to you, I try not to put that out there, because then it's not like I'm ashamed of it, but at the same time, though, they look at you as like, okay, of course you're going to be gung-ho or this or that, or they put these presuppositions they have about you out there, and they say, I expect this from this person. Then of course I hear this. So I try to keep it out of my YouTube message for that reason. I mean, just because I want to have more people just honestly listen. Because my opinions are, I'd rather our country was in good shape and didn't have to say anything, but that's not the case. And so I'm trying to get as many people to listen that the freedom and liberty is the uniting language of us all as I can.
Yeah, well, I can guarantee you this, that my audience is going to care that you are a veteran, and it's not going to dissuade them from coming to your show. So, my audience will appreciate that. And, again,
Absolutely.
I thank you for your service. It means a lot to me that you guys are actually, like, for example, Johnny Rocket and yourself, you both were veterans, or are veterans, and you both decided to join. You wrote a blank check, and it does mean something to me, and I know that people out there actually do care. And one thing I'd like to ask you is, what actually made you start your YouTube channel? What drove you to actually get out there and get involved?
Well, I was wondering if you asked that. I mean, the thing is, about a year and a half ago, Mac, I really looked at my country. I took a long, hard look at it. And I was in the election, the election season was real hot, for 2012, and it was coming down to the wire. And I'm looking at my party. I'm looking at because I used to say I was a Republican, conservative. I'm looking at Mitt Romney running for office. I'm thinking this guy's not trying to win. My party doesn't represent me anymore. I just seen the Republican National, the RNC convention, where they read off of a teleprompter the answers to when they took votes, like it was already pre-scripted. I'm thinking the GOP is not really representing us anymore. They're not doing they're a bunch of I'm slowing down here. They're a bunch of progressives on the right now. And I'm looking at my country and saying, something's got to change here. I mean, like I said just a second ago, I would rather not say a word. I'd rather live in a great America that was a great place and not have any of these things to say. And I'd rather not be a voice. I'd rather just be a normal guy living his life. But when I see the country going down the path it's going down, and I see us doing it blindly, ignorant of the history that's come before us and where that path leads, I mean, I can't in good conscience sit there and look at it and not say anything. I can't just stand here and go, oh, well, I guess it's too late. I'm just going to accept the status quo, and it is what it is. I refuse to accept that.
Absolutely. And it will be too late if we don't do anything. It's never too late as long as you're trying. That's one thing that people don't get is they think that there's nothing we can do. For example, Obamacare right now, law of the land. Yeah. They keep saying it's the law of the land. Stop trying to change it. It's a law of the land. Well, slavery was a law of the land, and we changed it. And if we look at what the progressives are doing right now, everything that they've been trying to chip away, all these freedoms that we have, they are already the law of the land, and they're trying to take them away. They're trying to change it.
Absolutely. And the thing, you can really see that reflected through society when you look at, and I hate to criticize them because I know they see the underbelly of society whenever they're called that something bad's happening, but you see it in law enforcement. I mean, these guys, they go around and it seems like they'll pass, any law a politician passes, they will enforce it. I mean... Yeah, I mean, at what point, as a police officer, at what point would those police officers actually realize, hey, this is unconstitutional, why am I doing this, I need to stop?
You know, I think every police officer needs to ask himself that question. Yeah. And in fact, hey guys, if you're out there and you're a police officer, I'd love to hear from you. 619-924-0986, 619-924-0986, or email the show at talk@onthemoveshow, and let us know what you have to say. If you're a constitutional sheriff or you know of one, tune in and let us know what you have to say on this. All right, what were you saying, Chuck?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I'm willing to talk about my situation in the I mean, recently I was stopped by the LAPD, you know. Mm-hmm. And I practice driving, and I'm not a sovereign citizen. I think that there should be some law, but they should all follow the Constitution. I mean, I don't have a driver's license. I don't register my car. And it's not because I lost it. It's because I chose not to pay for it anymore. And I chose not to pay for it. I mean, we have innumerable rights. It means our rights are not limited to what's in the Constitution. It goes beyond that. They're unenumerated, you know, whereas the governments are enumerated. They're numbered. And so the right to travel has been one of those rights that precedent has been established on. And so, I mean, that's also part of my tax consent thing. It's like, if you're going to want the government to change, you have to make it need to change. And part of that is taking away the money from it. As long as you're giving things like the DMV money and registration for a car, and that's really not only the violation of your rights like property, you're having to pay a yearly duty to own it, but on top of that, too, you're funding the mechanism that is used against you.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree.
But these cops, it
doesn't make sense for us to actually pay like for permission to do something that's supposed to be a right, like your right to travel. And you know, one point that I make is, as far as the right to travel, as far as driving and having to be licensed and permitted to do that, is how it affects your other rights. Like, for example, let's say that you wanted to go to church on Sunday. That's practicing your First Amendment right, freedom of religion, your human right to practice your religion. So you want to drive to your church, and now you don't have the money to, let's say you could not afford, you literally cannot afford to pay the registration and to pay the fee to get a driver's license. Well, now it's infringed on your religious right, your right to do it. Not only your right to travel, but your right to practice your religion.
There's other pieces of like little subsets of oppression in the actual DMV. It's almost in every state-based DMV as like subsets of oppression inside the actual whole licensing system and the registration system. For example, like when they put these smog laws out there saying if this car makes this much more pollution than it's supposed to, you can't drive it. What that does is the people who claim to be the most tolerant people in the world, the left, the tolerant left is the most intolerant people in the world. They put that law in there about smog and stuff. Really what they've done is now they've said if a guy can only afford a $500 car, can't buy a $500 car because usually they have problems and don't pass smog. Unless he can't buy that car because it's not acceptable to everybody else. But really, you're taking away the poor people's right to buy something that's of their means that they can afford to travel in. I mean, if you put a smog law out there that says the car has to be this little polluting or has to fit in these numbers, well, what if the cheap cars don't do that? So now you have to buy like a car that has the smog costs probably about $2,000 pretty much on average. So now what about that guy's got a wife and a family that's got $500 in his pocket and needs to get to work? What about him? What about the poor people?
You're taking money out of their pockets, literally.
What's that?
Yeah. I said you're taking money out of their pockets, literally. Like you're literally helping impoverish these people because now, not only can they not practice their religious right, but now they have trouble getting to work and they can't afford to pay things in order to make money.
Well, it's the laws like that. We're not actually letting him buy what stuff his means, but he can afford at his level in society is that $500 beater car. And you know, if he wants to get out of that car, believe me, he doesn't want to drive the smog polluting car forever. He'd rather have something nicer. But he's got to work his way up to that, and he needs that to do it. And there's a whole lot of laws like that, like even building code laws. I mean, a lot of things like that are. I mean, because here in California where I live, you have to have a certain percentage of LED lights in your kitchen, and you have to have them in your bathrooms. LED lights compared to a regular recessed fixture. I'm a contractor by trade. $6 for a regular recessed housing fixture, or $45 for an LED fixture. And so basically, what you're doing is you're making it. Somebody that's poor, you're making it so that they have some land and they can afford to build a decent house, you know, something that's better than we used to live in 100 years ago, but it doesn't have all these LEDs. They can't do it because it doesn't pass code. So you make all these laws that say are environmental, this, so further, they're helping people out, we're tolerant people. They're really discriminatory. They're classist at best.
Yeah, what do you think about this? I heard in the news not too long ago that Seaside, Oregon, it's a little further away from where I'm at right now, but Seaside, Oregon just passed an ordinance that now makes it illegal for you to actually have an outdoor light that doesn't have this shroud over it. If you're anywhere within a certain proximity of the beach, and they're trying to do this so that the tourists there can see the stars in the sky. So that, and that's their reasoning behind it. It has nothing to do other than that, but just for tourism purposes. But they're telling people what they can and can't do on their privately owned property.
Well, that goes back to the whole thing with, like being able to build something of your means and having them discriminate against you for class, or maybe in my case, I'm telling you what to do with a car, having a driver's license. I mean, how do we own property if we can't do what we want with it? How do we have a right to property? The right to property, unless you can really, and I think the wording is, freely acquire, use, and dispose of as you see fit. If you can't do that with your property, that whole it's a farce. It's basically it's hollow words now, and that's scary to think, because our founding fathers talked about how the right to own property, the right to property, was one of the key elements of freedom.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. Absolutely. So here's my question to you then. Okay. I know you've been in this, trying to wake people up, trying to get people, to the cause of liberty and actually make them understand what's going on. And honestly, first of all, I just want to say thank you. This is a tough cause that you've picked up, especially, with the licensing and the automobiles and whatnot. That's a tough one to get people to snap out of it and realize, hey, this is tyrannical.
Mack, check this out, Mack. If we can win that battle, though, that's an important battle. I picked that kind of as an entryway to a whole line of questioning a lot of laws. Because I think it's one that a lot of people will get behind you, I think, if you can get it moving. Because here's the deal, is that everybody hates paying that registration. Here in California, it's ridiculous what we pay. And, and like, everybody almost has a family member these days who's lost their license at some point in time. It's something we can all relate to, and we can all see the tyranny in it, and we kind of don't like it when they take the money out of our pockets. So people are eager to maybe jump behind that. But see, the whole deal is once you can get people to start questioning whether or not, just because it's law it does not make it correct, you get people to realize that men in black robes, they say stuff, they're wearing their black robes, does not make them right, and you can get them to question that, then it opens up a whole other line. And if you can win that battle in court, now you can go through things like gun control, which here in California would be the next thing I would pick at. So you can get this one. Because once you can get established that the laws are not infallible, the laws are not these immortal, like Obamacare, not these like things that become just the second they're passed, these become pillars of our society, and that's not the case. And things can change. And once you get that idea in people's heads, and you get the court system to acknowledge it with an issue like driving, where a lot of people try to get behind you because they hate the fees they pay, then you can start attacking other things that are even more essential to liberty. I think it's more one of those foot in the door things where you can get that one, you can get people to your cause, then you can start to establish that mindset of the law is questionable.
Well, I think you're right in regard to that, but I do think that this can also work the other way as well. It can make people think, oh, well, it's not a big deal, and then it can make them think that, you're just, some guy out there, thinking anti-government, stuff like that. And I'm not saying that you are, but I'm saying these are the problems that we face in this movement. And again, I really appreciate the fact that you're out there doing it, because people need to get out there and wake up as many people to these things as possible. And every different way that we can try to find out how to wake people up, either doing it through the licensing or doing it through something else. If any idea, just get out there and get moving.
Real quick though. The thing is, I had these cops take my vehicle away in L.A. after I explained everything to them. I got so much social precedent sitting there on paper in front of them. But I will give credit to law enforcement. Before that, I've been pulled over like 12 other times. I've been to court once. Twice actually. I had dismissed both times. The other times I've been to court, the other 10 times. I got tickets 3 times. Once taking my car. The other 10 times I didn't get a ticket. These cops, when you show them you know the law and you talk to them, you're reasonable, they will a lot of times, they'll listen to you. They'll hear what you say, and they'll know that you aren't some punk who just doesn't want to pay or got your license taken. You're doing this for a reason. And there's a lot of them that have listened. And to their credit, there's a lot of them who have looked at me and said, you know what, you're right. And I walked away without a ticket, my car, or the 2 of them that did give me a ticket that I went to court for, they had the respect to say, you know what, well, let the court decide this, and not take the vehicle. And the thing is, that's the thing. I've had an overall positive experience with it in that regard.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these cops, they're ignorant of the law. They really, honestly are just not taught. It's the problem with our schools and our cops. We don't teach people things like the Constitution anymore. We don't teach natural law at law schools anymore. When you go to law school now, you don't learn natural law, and that is the premise of everything the founders based our whole system on. Your natural, inalienable, God-given rights.
I totally agree.
Teaching that to lawyers, and judges, we have a problem.
Yeah, well, Oregon State, they actually have a law in their constitution. It's in the Constitution that requires them to teach for, I believe it's 5 years, the Constitution in schools, which they're not complying with. But it's in the Constitution itself. We talk about it on my YouTube channel in the Constitutional Study Groups. The YouTube channel is On the Move Show. So if anybody wants to check it out, I believe we talked about it in the first Constitutional Study Group. It's a 2-hour-long clip, so it's in there somewhere. But yeah. You know, I know exactly what you're talking about. That our government isn't teaching us the Constitution. That, you know, it's a problem with also the police departments. The way that their academy works. These people are graduating without even the basic concept of the law. They just know some of these things that they can get catch-all people like disorderly conduct or something like that, and then they sort it out later.
It's funny to me because I've had this whole thing with the LAPD where they took my truck. I mean, this whole thing I've had so many times. I've had twice that people tell me that the Constitution is irrelevant. There are laws, there are police officers in regards to California, like vehicle code and statute. I've had one tell me that when I was telling him what my rights are, and telling him the Constitution verbatim, telling me it's my opinion. And the thing is, and they always say that one line. They say, "Well, I'm just upholding the law," and they quote the state law they're upholding. But the problem with that is our state laws, yours and mine, state both have the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence for the country, the national Constitution and the Declaration of Independence in their founding documents for the state. And so, yeah, you're following this state law, but it violates the first part of the state charter that was ever passed. I mean, and I don't get that. I mean, sometimes I'm flabbergasted, really, at some of the things I hear.
Yeah, believe me, I understand. And I saw that video that you have on your YouTube channel. Again, for my listeners, it's youtube.com/Chuck Burns 4. That's a number 4, USA. Check it out. That was really crazy when that officer said, you know, the Constitution is irrelevant. That blew me away. I couldn't believe it. These are people that swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. Right. Hey, Chuck, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in about a minute 30. Are you able to stay with us for a little bit longer?
Absolutely. I'm able as long as you need me.
Okay, awesome. All right, we'll be right back, guys, and thanks for sticking with us.
Support On the Move. Help us make this podcast bigger and better. You can do this by going to our store and purchasing one of our hundreds of products. All designs are original and made for patriots like you. Just go to cafepress.com/onthemoveshow. We appreciate your support. Need design services? Logo design for $90, business cards, brochures, bumper stickers, signs, flyers, promotional products such as mugs, pins, bags, keychains, magnets, and so much more. Contact LaTasha Worley for a quote on your next project at Tasha, Tosha, at lworleyphotography.com today. Or visit me on the web at lworleyphotography.com and on Facebook at facebook.com/lworleyphotography and on Twitter at twitter.com/Tasha Worley. Show your support for a designer who believes in the Constitution and your rights.
And we're back. When we last left the show, we had special guest Chuck Burns from youtube.com/Chuck Burns, the number 4 USA. He is on the show. We're talking about liberty and the cause of liberty. If you want to join the conversation, the telephone number to the show is 619-924-0986. Again, that is 619-924-0986. Or you can email the show at talk@onthemoveshow.com. Chuck, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so what I'd like to know from you, I asked this question to a lot of my guests on the show, and I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about it because I like your take on it. Usually you have unique opinions on things, and I'm curious, what does it mean to you to be a patriot?
Be a patriot? Well, that's these days. I think that word has become very polluted. I look at Twitter, you know, and I have a video called "No More Compromise," and I say in there, you know, we're all sitting here in little circles online. Everybody says I'm a patriot, but you know, but what are you doing about that? You know, I mean, we all pat ourselves on our back, but the fact of the matter is, the past 100 years of this country can be chalked up as a law. It's progressive. And I ask people also, what are you willing to do to change that? you start talking to them about like the whole thing, like the whole thing with taxes.consent.org is, like I tell people, you have to consent to your government, right? You have the right to retract it too. If you have to consent, that would make sense. You have the right to retract the consent. So if you have the right to retract the consent, that means that would be including paying taxes, and that's the best way because the politicians they don't listen anymore. You can send Tea Party people to Washington D.C. They seem to change when they get there. So I mean, the politicians don't listen. The place changes people when they get there. So what do you do to make them listen? You got to take the money back. You got to that feeds the beast. That's the whole thing. The license, but you have to take the money away from the system. But the thing is, when you start talking to patriots about that stuff, they say, "Well, are you paying taxes?" When Bush passed TARP, I stopped. When Bush passed TARP, and I said, "I'm not funding corporatism." I said right then and there, I sent a notified letter to the IRS. I called them and I told them I cited the law and the code and the Supreme Court precedents that I didn't have to because it's voluntary tax system. Believe it or not, it's a voluntary tax system we have here. You can't just go to court and claim that. You have to know the law. If you don't know the law, the judge will throw you in jail. If you run roughshod over you. But the thing is, though, when I ask these people, the patriots, supposed patriots, well, are you willing to stop paying your taxes? Are you willing to? I could go to jail. I could get in trouble for that. And that disgusts me. It's like, this country's freedom was bought and paid for by men who put their lives on the line, who were willing to pay the ultimate price. They wrote that check that could be cashed for a price up to and including their, what. And when you have that foundation of what started us, but when you have something like, that could get me in trouble, or bad thing could happen, and it stops you. What if the men who started this country did that? What if George Washington and Ben Franklin said, you know what? Oh, the British are kind of scary. You know what? I don't want to go look down the barrel of a gun at somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We have to actually put our money where our mouth is. We got to be willing to.
Absolutely. That's what being a patriot is. That's what being a patriot is. It means putting your money where your mouth is and doing it even when your patoot is on the line and it could cost you something dear. Even when you know, like me, it could cost me my truck, and it has at this point in time. You know what? It doesn't matter. You still do what's right. Because if it's nothing about compromise. If it's really your principles, your truth, and you really believe it to your core, we know freedom is truth. If you believe that to your core, and you know that is correct, and you know in your heart you're correct, like our founders did, you know what? You can't sell any part of that. The second you sell any part of that, people like the left, they own you. Because it's not objective truth anymore. Now it's subjective because you've sold part of it. So, then they can come at you. They can say things like, well, you're not always right. Look at you. You see it at this point to me. You gave me this little inch right here. If you're willing to do that, I mean, there's problems with your beliefs. So that's why you gave it up, right? And then next thing they're minimizing. They're poking holes in your argument. And that's why I think a lot of the conservatives in Washington, supposed conservatives, are quiet because they've compromised their beliefs so many times in so many areas that it's impossible for them to really stand up to anything. I mean, I say to people, let's talk after this, I say to people, I say compromise is like ice cream, right? Or compromise is for ice cream, right? We go to the grocery store, we go to the ice cream. You want vanilla, I want chocolate. We can compromise on that because they're both ice cream. But when you have truth and you have lies, and you have freedom and you have oppression, there is no compromising it whatsoever. And if you're a patriot, you don't sell that ideal short. You don't try to bring these wishy-washy candidates like the GOP does to elections. You get people who stand on principle and say, you know what, I'm going to do this, and it doesn't matter if it costs me. I can go home and sleep at the end of the night. I can look my grandkids in the eye someday and say, you know what, if we fall into tyranny, it wasn't because of me. I probably won't be alive if that happens, but that's okay. And or you can sit there and tell them how you fought it back. But you have to, if you're not willing to do that, there's a famous quote that says, you're only kept free by the exertions of better men than yourself. The quote goes, I think, some men are only kept free by the exertions of better men than themselves.
That's awesome. That's a great quote.
I will never be one of those people.
That's amazing. Well, hey, Chuck, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I want to give you a chance to promote anything else you got going on. What other websites, and if you could give your YouTube account and everything again so my listeners can check you out.
The big thing is, like I said, the Twitter. Thank everybody on Twitter that follows me. Actually, just right now I need to do that because I just hit 15,000 followers the other day. And so I want to thank everybody on Twitter that's following me, all the 15,000 if you're listening, any one of you. I put this show out there so maybe it's people tomorrow, but I thank you guys very much. I appreciate everything. I'd rather not be a voice. I'd rather our country be healthy. But though, I at least appreciate I have to say something. Y'all listen. And also, the YouTube.com is youtube.com /user/Chuck Burns 4, the number 4 USA. So watch the videos, check that out. It's and just question like I said, don't believe me when I say look into things, question everything, and think for yourself and think free. Don't think in the status quo. If anything else is going to be possible, something different can be possible, we have to first think that that's capable of even happening. If we don't think it's capable of happening, it won't happen. And one more thing, taxstarconsent.org is the website. It's for information about retracting your consent through your taxes. If you fund tyranny and the machine is used against you, your consent is irrelevant. And one other thing, on the tax for consent, you can find a link to my fundanything.com campaign. Right now, we're fighting the LAPD for the right to property, the right to due process, the right to travel freely as we see fit with the key principles of liberty. And they're hitting me right now with almost $1,000+ in filing for a lawsuit. They're hitting me with a couple thousand more for the motions and stuff. I have 30 motions I'm filing on the case. I mean, so I can handle it, but I'd appreciate some help from patriots out there. It's fundanything.com, and you can find the link on my blog at taxstarconsent.org. I mean, and anybody wants to help out with that, we'd appreciate it greatly. We're also going to be starting pretty soon up that same movement, a cop watch organization out here in Thousand Oaks, LA County area. So.
Okay. Well, hey, Chuck, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email with all that information, especially with your donation fund that people can get. I'll put that on my show or on my show's Facebook, and I'll try to get some information out because I'd like to help you out with that as much as possible. So I'll try to get that message out.
They're trying to kill me right now with these filing fees. I mean, it's insane. It's and I'm sitting there telling the people at the window, well, you know what? How can you do this? The DA does when he files a motion. The DA, when he went to go all the discovery, he doesn't pay you any money. How is it right that they charge us, the citizens, to get the cops get to use against you for free?
Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, shoot me the information on that, man. I'll get it out. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I'm going to cut to a commercial break.
I appreciate it very much.
You're very welcome, and you are welcome on the show anytime. Like I said, please let me know if there's anything I can do for you, and I'll try to promote the heck out of this donation fund for you because it's horrible what they're doing to you.
You ever need a guest, you can always call me up. I'd be glad to come on, man. You're a good guy. Thanks for serving.
Awesome.
And have a great one, man.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All
right, so we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to wrap up the show. I got a few more segments that I want to talk about, and I appreciate you guys sticking with us. We'll be right back.
Support On the Move. Help us make this podcast bigger and better. You can do this by going to our store and purchasing one of our hundreds of products. All designs are original and made for patriots like you. Just go to cafepress.com/onthemoveshow. We appreciate your support. Need design services? Logo design for $90, business cards, brochures, bumper stickers, signs, flyers, promotional products such as mugs, pins, bags, keychains, magnets, and so much more. Contact LaTasha Worley for a quote on your next project at Tasha, Tosha, at lworleyphotography.com today, or visit me on the web at lworleyphotography.com, and on Facebook at facebook.com/lworleyphotography, and on Twitter at twitter.com/Tasha Worley. Show your support for a designer who believes in the Constitution and your rights.
I challenge you to a duel. Did you hear that? Sounds like it's time for a challenge. Listener challenge. Listener challenge. Listener challenge. Listener challenge.
All right, guys, it's that time again. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to sign the petition that Rand Paul has set up to repeal Obamacare. Go to Google and type in Rand Paul's petition to repeal Obamacare. It should be the first one to pop up in the search results. Sign it, share it, and talk about it with your friends and family. This petition can be used to show Congress that enough people are out there that are unhappy with Obamacare to want it gone. They know that for every one person that signs a petition, there are 9 others out there that feel the same way, but didn't know about the petition in the first place. Share this on your social media. Please try to get the information out. Any group that you're a part of, let them know that there is a way that you can sign this petition. This is a very easy step we can all take to help get rid of this unconstitutional law. Please join me in signing this petition. Okay, so we have a special treat here. We got a clip here from when Obama was asked specifically about the debacle of the actual Obamacare navigators. So here we go. Here's Obamacare when he was asked about the security flaws, the insecurity of healthcare.gov.
The Tea Party, the anarchists of the country.
One faction of one party.
The anarchists have taken over.
Pelosi's aloof, Reid just scowls, Schumer's a freak and the House kowtows, Boehner's a tool, Cantor's a joke, John McCain is just a fool. All this crap is getting old. The pain is ow, ow, ow. But there's one sound that no one knows. What does Barack say?
I don't think that. But the extremists.
What does Barack say?
I mean, but let me just speak more generally. And I will not negotiate.
What does Barack say?
The election is over. The public is not paying close attention. I will not negotiate. The extremists.
What does Barack say?
I don't think that. But the extremists.
What does Barack say?
Okay, so I fibbed. That wasn't him talking about that, but I thought that was funny anyway. So, all right, I want to let you guys know that I'm doing a new segment. I haven't got any questions from you all yet, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say. This new segment is called Ask Mack, and we even have a brand new audio clip that we play for it now. So here we go. I'm going to play you the clip, and then we'll lead into the segue for this segment.
When you got a question and you need some insight, I'm just not political. Mack is on your side. Go ahead and ask Mack. Go ahead and ask Mack.
Okay, this segment is called Ask Mack. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a post on our Facebook, facebook.com/onthemoveshow, and it's going to give you guys an opportunity to ask your questions, anything that you're curious of what my take on it would be. Go ahead and ask your question, facebook.com/onthemoveshow, and we'll be more than happy to answer them on the air. I'll give you my take, my personal opinion. I may not have the answer, but I will at least give you my opinion on it. And, again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not qualified to make legal, decisions or give you legal advice. But what I can tell you is, my philosophy on things. And it's always going to be a philosophy based on individual liberty and personal responsibility. So if you're curious what I have to think about an issue or maybe a topic that's been in the news, we'd love to hear about you. Send us a message. Let us know. And again, unrelated, if you guys are on Facebook, go ahead and look me up, Mack Worley III on Facebook. Add me as a friend. I'd love to have you as a friend on there so you can find out what I'm up to and I can hear from you guys. I like interacting with you guys. That's most of the reason why I'm doing this, is to interact with you guys and find out what you guys are passionate about, find out what you guys are doing that, we can all join together, network together. That's part of what I'm doing with PatriotFB.com. I'd really like to hear from you guys. So please let me know what you guys are up to and, add me as a friend on that and as well as on PatriotFB.com. So, all right, so moving on. I've been talking about in the past here about how our money's going to be devalued and, the fact that the federal government is printing so much money, at some point our money is going to be worthless. And I have been concerned about what to invest in. I've been wondering, is gold and silver, is that the best way to go? What's safe? What's the safest thing that you can invest in? We talk about like China, who's been investing in even more gold. I believe they've talked about doubling or tripling their gold reserves, and yet we're the ones that are crazy for wanting to get out of the U.S. dollar as our form of currency. We're the ones that are crazy for basically trying to establish some kind of safety net in case the currency, either totally devalues or inflation kicks in. Might I suggest that you look into buying food? And the reason for that, food has always been worth something. Gold and silver historically have been worth something, but I will tell you this, there will never ever be a time when people don't need food. People will always need food, and during times of emergency, people need it even more, and it becomes increased in value. So, when you look at gold and silver as an investment, that's a great investment, and I'm not bashing that in any way. But if you come to me with a gold bar and you're wanting food from me in a time of emergency when I can't go to the store and buy food, that gold bar isn't really worth anything to me. So I may tell you, hey, I don't want that gold right now. It's not going to help me feed my family. I'm not going to take food out of my family's mouth for gold. That doesn't even make any sense. I'm gonna tell you to go pound sand because I don't need that gold. Now let's say you have a skill or something like that you can barter with. That's a different story. But I suggest that you're looking at buying freeze-dried food. And you can do that by going to onthemoveshow.com. You click on the shop link, okay? And if you go there, go to our freeze-dried guy affiliate. That store is offering freeze-dried food at an affordable price. And, I don't know if you've ever had Mountain House food before. Mountain House is the brand that they sell on there, but it is delicious. I love that stuff. I'll cook that stuff even if I'm not out camping or something, but it's a really tasty treat, and some of these have up to a shelf life of like 25 years. So look into that. See if it's something that you'd be interested in. And keep in mind, this is a pretty good hedge against inflation because the food lasts so long. I mean, you've got 25 years to eat this food. I can guarantee you that if you buy food 25 years from now, it's going to cost you a heck of a lot more than it costs you to buy it today. So it's a short-term investment as well as a long-term investment. If the economy collapses, the dollar's useless, at least you can feed your family. And not even looking at such a big circumstance like that, something so drastic like the economy collapsing, okay? Look at it something small, like if you lost your job. Right now we're having Obamacare kill more jobs than anything else out there. It's very, very possible that you could be moved to part-time or just cut entirely because your employer can't afford to provide you health care insurance. So with that in mind, it's very easy to see how we can actually lose our job and need to fall back onto our preps, our stuff that we put aside for a rainy day or for hard times. Having food available, imagine if you spent $200 of freeze-dried food. $200 of freeze-dried food will buy you a heck of a lot more food than going out to eat, going to McDonald's, or even going to the grocery store in a lot of cases, depending on what you're buying. But if you buy meals, freeze-dried meals from our affiliate store, you're going to save a lot of money in the long run, and you're going to save money right now. So look into it. If it's for you, you decide. You be the one to decide. But might I suggest I think it's a good route for you to go. Anyway, so what I would like to talk about now is basically just get back to what I was talking about in regards to the healthcare system and what we were talking about before. So, one thing I always say is that people aren't stupid. Even though that the left, they seem to think so. They think that you're too stupid to decide what you can and can't put into your body. You're too stupid to decide what kind of healthcare is best for you. They think that states are too stupid to decide what to teach their children in their schools. I'm talking about Common Core, of course. So they think that people are too stupid and not trustworthy enough to own a firearm. Laws will change the way people behave. People will always find ways around laws or adjust their lives because of the laws. This concept is something that liberals continually fail to understand time and time again. There will always be unintended results of laws passed, some good and some bad. The liberal mindset seems to be that doing something drastic is better than doing nothing at all. They fail to understand that the free market is a self-correcting system. If you get out of the way, it'll fix itself. There's no system in the world that has done more to bring people out of poverty than the free market. As Milton Friedman points out, a 100% estate tax would change the way people save. Why bother working your whole life and saving your money if when you die, the government gets it all? How many of us would spend our money as we get it if we knew that the government would get it otherwise? How many people's motivation to work hard and save would be killed? If they weren't able to pass the money down to their children, what do you think would happen? And let's be honest, how many people would get around that tax by keeping their money out of the banks? If the government doesn't know about your money, the government can't take it, right? And all this would seem to be something that a reasonable person would be able to understand could happen. But liberals fail to look beyond their noses. Liberals continue to use useful idiots with emotional causes like world hunger, poverty, and gun violence to spread these kinds of ideas. The term useful idiots was coined by the founder of Marxism, Karl Marx, who invented socialism and communism. He was referring to people who are used to push a cause they know little about for emotional reasons. These people don't realize they're being played. These programs are all about control. They claim capitalism is evil and that it's based on greed. Well, I have a clip here from Milton Friedman, and he's talking about greed. And he's discussing how he feels that greed is what actually runs the world.
When you see around the globe the maldistribution of wealth, the desperate plight of millions of people in underdeveloped countries, when you see so few haves and so many have-nots, when you see the greed and the concentration of power within, did you ever have a moment of doubt about capitalism and whether greed's a good idea to run on?
Well, first of all, tell me, is there some society you know that doesn't run on greed? You think Russia doesn't run on greed? You think China doesn't run on greed? What is greed? Of course, none of us are greedy. It's only the other fellow who's greedy. The world runs on individuals pursuing their separate interests. The great achievements of civilization have not come from government bureaus. Einstein didn't construct his theory under order from a bureaucrat. Henry Ford didn't revolutionize the automobile industry that way. In the only cases in which the masses have escaped from the kind of grinding poverty you're talking about, the only cases in recorded history are where they have had capitalism and largely free trade. If you want to know where the masses are worst off, it's exactly in the kinds of societies that depart from that. So that the record of history is absolutely crystal clear that there is no alternative way so far discovered of improving the lot of the ordinary people that can hold a candle to the productive activities that are unleashed by a free enterprise system.
But it seems to reward not virtue as much as ability to manipulate the system.
And what does reward virtue? You think the communist commissar rewards virtue? You think a Hitler rewards virtue? You think, excuse me, if you'll pardon me, do you think American presidents reward virtue? Do they choose their appointees on the basis of the virtue of the people appointed or on the basis of their political clout? Is it really true that political self-interest is nobler somehow than economic self-interest? You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. And just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us. Well, I don't even trust you to do that.
All right, well, that's our show today. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I want to thank our special guest, Johnny Rocket of the Hot Rod and Romeos and host of The Launchpad. Again, make sure you check out his Facebook, facebook.com/JR Launchpad. And I also would like to thank Chuck Burns, another guest that we had. He's a YouTube personality. He runs that YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chuck Burns, 4 USA. Make sure you check out his stuff and check my my Facebook page, facebook.com/OnTheMoveShow, because I'm going to put some updates about what's going on with him and his fund that he has to support the legal battle that he's going through right now. So, again, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. If you guys would like to tune into the next show, you can give us a call at 619-924-0986, 619-924-0986, and you can join in the conversation. Or, if you'd like to, email us at talk@onthemoveshow.com. If you have any questions or comments, we'll put your email on the air, and we'll answer it to the best of our ability. But anyway, that's today's show. Again, I want to thank you guys, our listeners, our loyal listeners, for tuning in week after week. We really appreciate your continued support. And again, don't forget to check us out at onthemoveshow.com, here at blogtalkradio.com/onthemoveshow, facebook.com/onthemoveshow, youtube.com/onthemoveshow, and twitter.com/onthemoveshow. And as always, know your rights, assert your rights, and get on the move.